Well, I was leaving my friend's house in Hammond after I'd spent the night there, and I was heading home to go change for work and get ready to go, and I was driving down the road and kind of veered off the left-hand shoulder, and so I overcorrected. The van kind of started swaying back and forth, and all of a sudden I flipped it. I don't remember that at this point. I don't remember it flipping, but I was ejected because I wasn't wearing my seatbelt, and I flew 100 feet and landed and broke my back. So like a lady came later and found me laying face down in the grass, and I was crying because I couldn't feel my feet, and I knew that something was going on. So it kind of completely severed my spinal cord, so I won't ever walk again. I kind of have a problem, like when I get into the car and you just kind of leave, and I don't really remember to put it on right away when I'm driving, like before I start driving. So usually I remember kind of in the middle of driving, and the seatbelt thing was broken so it was laying really far low on the floor, so I couldn't really put my seatbelt on with one hand and steer at the same time. So that was kind of why I wasn't wearing it, is because I couldn't do it while I was driving. So, and I was used to having a different car where I can just latch it right away. Like I'd only had this van for about 7 or 8 days, so I wasn't used to driving it, and I wasn't used to that. So I would say make sure, like, the first thing you do is you get in the car, you put your seatbelt on, and then you start the car. Like, it should just become kind of a habit, because it can honestly save your life, or like prevent something like this from happening, because honestly I would not put my worst enemy through this. Seatbelt use is so important. Like it can make like that big of a difference. Like if I hadn't flown out of the car, I would be perfectly fine. I know it. I saw a picture of the van. It was barely even wrecked. If I would have been in there, I'm sure I would have been fine. But like instead, like one of my only injuries was a major injury, and I'm gonna have to live with it now for the rest of my life. Like live with just knowing that I could have prevented it, and I hate it. I hate it. It drives me crazy.
Motor vehicle crashes are the leading cause of death for children ages 4 to 14. In Wisconsin, on average, more than 13 children are injured or killed every day in motor vehicle crashes. Teenagers are also especially vulnerable to injury and death on Wisconsin roads. Airbags and seatbelts save lives. Wisconsin law requires that all persons in a vehicle wear seatbelts, and that children under the age of 8 be properly restrained in a child safety seat or seatbelt. Children under 4 must be properly secured in an approved child safety seat while riding in a motor vehicle. Using a car seat correctly makes a big difference. Every time a child is placed in a car seat, a quick 1-minute check should be done. A baby up to 20 pounds, or as close as possible to age 1, needs to face the back of the vehicle. For a child over 20 pounds, the car seat should be facing forward. Make sure the vehicle seat belt is properly attached and pulled tight. It may be necessary to check the vehicle manual and the seatbelt manual to be sure the seatbelt is properly attached in the vehicle. Every car is different, and it is very important that your car seat is properly fitted to your car. Every time you move your car seat to another vehicle, you must make sure that it is properly attached. Make sure the shoulder straps are in the proper slots for the size of the child, and also whether the seat is facing forward or backwards. Shoulder straps should be in the lowest slots for babies riding backwards, and in the top slots for children facing forward. The retainer clip is at armpit level and holds the harness straps on the shoulders. The harness should be snug and stay on the shoulders. The harness should be around the child, and any blanket should be placed over the harness, not under it. If the child is close to 40 pounds and has outgrown a child seat, a booster seat should be used. With a lap and shoulder belt, the shield should not be used. In vehicles with only lap belts, a shield is recommended. Due to front airbags, children 12 and under should be in the back seat. Never put an infant seat in the front seat. In a vehicle or a truck with no back seat, the child should be as far back from the dashboard as possible with a lap shoulder belt used, and the parent needs to make sure that the child sits back in the seat. Rear-facing infant seats should never ever be placed in the front seat. Studies show that when adults do not buckle up, children are less likely to be buckled up. Adults need to set a good example for their children, and don't just buckle your kids up most of the time. Do it every time. No exceptions, no matter what. Use of seatbelts by teens is generally the lowest of any age group. The law makes drivers responsible for passengers up to 16 years old. Passengers 16 and older are responsible for themselves and can be fined for violation even though they are not driving. It is also illegal to operate a pickup truck with children under the age of 16 riding in an open cargo bed. Parents need to make sure they understand the liability for passengers in their vehicle. Young drivers need to be directed to not only wear their seatbelts, but insist all passengers in the vehicle to wear their seatbelts as well. Airbags have saved the lives of hundreds of people involved in front-end crashes, but they inflate with such force that they can cause serious injury or death. In addition to special precautions for children, certain adults also need to make certain adjustments. The lap belt and shoulder belt must be always used in conjunction with an airbag. Drivers should be certain that they are seated at least 10 inches away from the steering wheel. Pregnant passengers and drivers should ride with the seat positioned as far from the dashboard or steering wheel as practical. Wear the lap belt below the abdomen and the shoulder strap to the side of the uterus. Tilt the steering wheel up away from the fetus and maintain a minimum of 10 inches from their bodies. Improper seatbelt use is also a cause for injury and death. Make sure children have properly buckled up with both the lap and shoulder belt secure against their body. Make the necessary adjustments to the belt so that it is a proper fit. Pets that travel are often allowed to move about the vehicle. This can be a very hazardous situation as well as dangerous for the pets. Pet owners can purchase animal restraint systems to protect their pet.
I don't exactly remember all of it, but I just remember we were driving and I was ready to, Dad told me to switch lanes because I was supposed to be in the slower lane and I was in the wrong lane. So about to switch lanes and I guess I just don't remember what happened, and there's this white truck that went by and scared me, so I kind of swerved and hit the gravel and ended up rolling it.
The Suburban hit the gravel at 55. We were going north towards Hudson. We ended up rolling, and then it spun around and it looked like we were going towards River Falls on the other side. There was, people stopped immediately and came. Remember the windows shattered on the first roll, and we got tossed around a little bit, quite a bit. The seatbelts are what saved our lives. If it wouldn't have been for the seatbelts, we could have been in traction, we could have been dead. I'd be missing some of my daughters right now. So the seatbelts made it so we had very minimal injuries.
Wearing my seatbelt is right when I get in the car, I have to have it on. It's I feel naked without it, personally. I don't know, some of my friends don't wear them, and I'm not a big fan of that. So, I don't know, it's kind of their choice, but I prefer them do it anyways, just to be safe, just in case something happened out of the blue, like our accident. We didn't plan it.
Exactly. It is the intent of the River Falls Police Department to promote the proper use of seatbelts. Airbags and seatbelts save lives. It is our goal that motorists obey the traffic laws, use seatbelts, buckle up passengers, and use child safety seats. Remember the ABCs. Always slide the seat back. Buckle everyone. Children ride in the back. Remember, by working together, we can save lives and prevent injuries through proper seatbelt use.
Everybody has to wear seatbelts, because if it wouldn't have been for the seatbelts, somebody would have been hurt very badly or killed, because shoes were outside of the car, water bottles, my cell phone, checkbooks, everything was tossed around, had flown outside of the car, and the only thing that kept us in there was the seatbelts. And if we didn't have those on, I don't want to even imagine what could have happened.